Welcome to Unity of Palm Harbor, where our mission is to advance well-being for ourselves and others through sharing compassion and inclusiveness with integrity and spirituality. Wasn't that a good test of my memory?
It absolutely is.
So we are so glad to see you all here this morning. You are all welcome here. My name is Karen Miller, and I have been the president of the Board of Trustees for this last year for Unity of Palm Harbor. And Reverend Tracey asked the board to fill in for her today because she is off somewhere celebrating her birthday that occurred a few days ago. Yes. So happy birthday, Tracey, if you're out there somewhere watching us. And we are also joined by our friends and neighbors and fellow congregants online on video. So I'd like everybody to turn around and wave. We welcome you and we appreciate you, and we're so glad you all can be with us today as well. We have on the board several people helping out with our service today. And so we have Comfort Carney, who's going to be doing our offertory, and Mary Ellen Shadow, who's going to be helping with the offertory as well. And Linda Potts is over teaching our youth like she does so dedicatedly. And so she is here today as well. And we have Greg Aiken is going to be reading our daily word. We have our prayer chaplain today is Cynthia Barnes. Cynthia, raise your hand. Cynthia will be here. So we have a lovely service with a very special guest speaker today, Mr. Dieter Randolph. Dieter, raise your hand. I'll be introducing Dieter in a moment. So today's also Super Bowl Sunday. It doesn't start for a while, so it's not interrupting with church particularly. But I am a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and I know there are a few Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans in the crowd, and I have to say that very sorrowfully, the game today is not about us. But nevertheless, I hope you, if you are so inclined, have a lovely day enjoying the game as well. So before we start with our musical guests, the Lovitts will be here, I want to do our announcements. So these lovely flowers were arranged by Kim and Mitchell, and they are beautiful and they are not spoken for. So if you have a special someone that might enjoy these like tomorrow, this would be a good time to buy those at the bookstore. As I said, Cynthia Barnes is our prayer chaplain, and she will be present up front at the end of service for quiet meditation with her if you like. On February 16th, please mark your calendars because Nana Hendricks and Greg Aiken will again do their meditation and gong service here in the sanctuary, and that's always very special if you can join us. Next week, Reverend Tracey will be back, and we will have new members presented, as well as a special guest, the Native American flutist and drummer, John Two Hawks will be here, who's a very special with a very special service and guest spot. And he will also do on Wednesday night a special quest meditation here in the sanctuary on February 23rd at 7 if you'd like more. On March 6th, Reverend Tracey will have a meeting here in the sanctuary to talk about her planned trip to Unity Village. Now, Unity Village is the home of Unity Worldwide Ministries and is a wonderful campus for meditation and contemplative worship. And that is where Unity began and is the heart of our church. And the historical grounds are there as well. And she will be taking whoever wants to on that trip. And so come and find out about it on March 6th if you would like. It's in Kansas City, Missouri area. Next Sunday is a special Sunday because we on the board will be conducting the annual Congregational meeting. And we will try to keep that as succinct and brief as possible and have the service end a little early so we can start our meeting. We will be talking about some important things like the budget, like what's happened, what are our successes from the past year, getting new board members approved, and also taking a look at revising our bylaws. So we need you here, and we appreciate your attendance at next week's service. There will be a presentation about the building, about at least what we know now. There's a wonderful building committee who has been working on this, and they will have a presentation at that meeting as well. And I know people are quite interested in where we are with that process. So, with that, I would like to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Dieter Randolph. Dieter is a writer, a speaker, a coach, a teacher, and a podcaster. And he says he does whatever else he needs to do to get the job done to reach people with his word. And his word is about helping people. Dieter is here to lend a hand, to remind you who you are, to remind you that to help others is to be beautiful, that it is powerful and a meaningful truth in order to make a difference. He is also the son of Reverend Randy, who now serves as one of our prayer chaplains. So, and you can find out more about Dieter at his website, which is called waypastok, all spelled out, .com, waypastok.com. Today, Dieter will be talking about meaningfulness, and we are very, very pleased to have you with us. So thank you, and now we will begin our service with our music.
We are all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in our family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. We are all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in our family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. And then this song is Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile at the rising sun. Three little birds pitched by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melody pure and true, saying, this is my message to you. Yeah. Don't worry, no, about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. You know it is. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile at the rising sun. Three little birds pitched by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melody pure and true, saying, this is my message to you. Beautiful job. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Wow, I love Bob Marley. That's how can you not smile during that song? It's just a great song. So I'm filling in for Tony, who had some congestion this morning, so we'll just send out some healing light to Tony. And I'm happy to be here today to read your daily word. And the daily word for today is compassionate. I am a compassionate presence. In periods of peaceful contemplation, I immerse myself in the unconditional love that joins the human family together in God. As the awareness of divine love fills my mind and heart, it dissolves all memories of difficulties and feelings of discord. Centered in divine love, I deeply feel my oneness with God and with all people. I now see the people in my life anew. Beholding the divinity of each dear one I meet, my heart overflows with empathy as I respond to their troubles and celebrate their triumphs. I am patient. I listen with intention. I recognize their divinity as I recognize my own. I welcome the flow of divine love as it blesses me, as well as those with whom I am sharing my compassion. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against any of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. That's from Leviticus 19:18.
It's time to begin this journey within, and in the stillness we will find the open door to all our heart has ever longed for. And once we see the light, all of the darkness disappears and we can see again we are the love. All of this time we've been wandering with our back to the sun. Now we turn and open up our eyes. We can see we really are one. Now we can see we have the key, and in the stillness we will find the open door to all our heart has ever longed for. Now that we know the way, all we need do is peace, be still, and we can feel again we are the love.
And now as we prepare for our time of meditation, let's allow ourselves to get still and quiet right where we are. We close our outer eyes and we open our minds. We open our hearts to the truth of this moment. Right here and right now, God is. Right here and right now, I am at one with God. And so right here and right now, there is nothing whatsoever for me to fear. God can't get sick or hurt or afraid. And in this moment, I manifest my real self through this body, through this life, through this moment. I am now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life and love and wisdom. I acknowledge Thy presence and Thy power, O blessed Spirit. In Thy divine wisdom, now erase all mortal limitations, and from Thy pure substance of love, bring into manifestation my world according to Thy perfect law. We are at peace. Peace is established right here and right now. Love is established right here and right now. Life is established right here and right now. For in this place, there can be only answers. For in this place, there can only be new beginnings and overcoming and lessons learned, because the Spirit of the Lord is in this place. I allow myself to be who I have always been. I allow myself to be seen with the eyes of Spirit, the eyes of love. I see myself like God sees me, learning and growing and full of pure potentiality. I see myself whole. I see myself free. And in this moment, I think about all those people who've been on my mind, those names that I know, those names that perhaps God only knows. And to each one I say, I see you free. I loose you and let you go. I see you like God sees you, and I am not fooled by appearances. You are not limited or defined by sickness or lack. You are not limited or defined by your challenges. You are an overcomer. You are a loved and blessed and living and healing child of God. So I set you free to your greater good. I let myself be free. Today, I let myself be free. Today, I let myself be free. Let's say that together. Today, I let myself be free. And let that truth be true in the silence for just a moment. It is here, from this quiet place, that the universe begins. It is here, with this still, small voice, that a new life begins for me. I let it be so. Amen.
Could it be so simple, right before our eyes, overlooked by many? Do we even realize what we're looking for? Comes from within. What we're looking for has always been there. What we're looking for is looking out through our eyes. It's the love of our lives, who we are. Yes, that's what we're looking for. Faces and places will always change, but the essence of what we are remains. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Illusions distract us, but there's one thing that's for certain. That which we are seeking is that which we already are. What we're looking for, love, joy, comes from within. What we're looking for has always been there. What we're looking for is looking out through our eyes. It's the love of our lives, who we are. And that's what we're looking for. Now deep in the heart it is all so clear, a loving light that dissolves all fear. Nothing to do or say, just be. Love, peace, and unity. That which we are seeking is that which we already are. What we're looking for, love, joy, comes from within. What we're looking for has always been there. What we're looking for is looking out through our eyes. It's the love of our lives, who we are. And that's what we're looking for. inside the body? Is it out there? Well, yes and no, it's really everything and everywhere.
Beyond all limitations, beyond all time and space, the heaven in our eyes, the smile upon our face.
What we're looking
True love,
comes
joy,
from within.
and
What we're looking
we
for,
are
it has always
all of
been
these.
there. What we're looking for is looking out through our eyes. It's the love of our lives, who we are. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. All right, one more time. What we're looking
true
for
love, joy,
from within.
and peace.
What we're looking
We are
for has always
all of
been
these.
there. What we're looking for is looking out through our eyes. It's the love of our lives, who we are, and that's what we're looking for. Thank you.
So, I have been a minister for 30 years. Yeah, I know, right? And my parents, and on one side, my grandparents are ministers too. It's kind of the family business. And a lot of stuff comes with that life. A lot of stuff comes with that calling, that job, the whole thing. And one of the things that occurred to me not so long ago, and it was such a strong feeling for me that I wrote a book about it. And it's this. Because I've been in the business for so long and in the life for so long, I have been to and conducted and been a part of and all that kind of stuff, I don't know, maybe hundreds of funerals. I mean, think about it. It's kind of part of the deal. Now, it's not something that I look forward to. It's a little bit creepy to say you look forward to a funeral, unless you're really threatening somebody. But I am honored by it. I'm honored to be part of that rite of passage, part of that wonderful, beautiful, transformational moment. It's such a beautiful thing to get to be a part of. I am deeply honored for all kinds of reasons. What I've discovered is one of the magical things about being at a funeral is everybody has some kind of a moment of insight. There's a breakthrough thing, because if you believe that the soul goes on in one way or another, you're looking at that moment and thinking, wow, I have something here that I didn't have before. And even if you believe that this is the end of everything and you're just looking into this dark place, well, that's a big thing too to think about. So one way or another, just about everybody sitting there in that room has some kind of a moment. And I'm the only one that gets to see it, because I'm looking at everybody. It's really cool. But one of the funny things about being at a funeral is you can't tell anybody about what happened, because it's really weird to go, hey, stop crying. Listen, let me tell you about my theory about life, the universe, and everything. It's weird. You can't tell the person you showed up with. But you can tell that weird guy at the front of the room. And so as a result of all of these years, I have heard everything. People have told me amazing, deep insights about how the whole thing works. I've also heard some pretty spectacular, dirty jokes that I'm not going to share with you today. I have heard everything. And it's such a beautiful thing. But here's the insight that changed things for me. Over all of these years, and all of these services, and all of these moments, and all of these amazing moments of insight, and all of it, and all of the things I've heard, I have never once, not once, heard anybody say, you know, that was a beautiful service and great sentiments, and I love the stories and the sharing and the whole thing. It was really lovely, but, you know, I wish we would have heard more about their credit score. Doesn't happen, right? I wish we would have heard more about their height, weight, vital statistics, what zip code, how many pounds they can knock off. I really wish we'd have heard more about the data. And we laugh about that because we know that the data, the numbers, completely unimportant, right? We know that. We laugh about it. It's such a silly idea. And yet, so many people spend so much time chasing the numbers. If only I could make a few more bucks. If only I could move to some desirable zip code. If only I could get a few more likes on my Instagram picture of nachos. The numbers. The numbers. The numbers. We know that the numbers aren't important, and yet so many people spend so much time chasing them. That's a pretty significant disconnect. And what I have found is that life really is a you are what you eat kind of a proposition. And what I mean by that is if you chase things that are meaningless, you will end up feeling meaningless too. Don't try this at home. And I get it. We're kind of trained for it. It comes from a lot of places. We're taught to chase the numbers in so many ways. We tell little kids when they're 3, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's a lot of pressure. If you declared a major, you're 5 now. And if you can make yourself miserable enough in school, maybe you'll get to go to an even more miserable school. It's prestigiously miserable. And you can make yourself really miserable there. And if you can really clobber yourself, you'll get a job that you'll hate. But listen, you'll hate it so much that if you can really good at hating it and hating yourself, eventually you'll get a promotion. Not only will you hate yourself, other people will hate you too. And that's really when it kicks in. And then if you can make yourself miserable for long enough, right? You've heard this story. It is the proposition that a lot of people are given. We're marketed to it, to chase the numbers. You've got a 3-blade razor? Nobody uses a 3-blade. You need a 5-blade. You need a 7-blade. You need a 27-blade razor, and then you'll be smooth. Or whatever it is. We are taught to chase the numbers. We are marketed to chase the numbers, and it comes from all kinds of places. I get it. Some people blame church. I hear that a lot when people find out I'm a minister. People go, well, I don't go to church anymore because I'm sick of the idea that I have got to get this God who doesn't like me to like me. And somehow if I can clobber myself enough, it's the same story. If I can clobber myself enough, then I'll get to go to heaven and live like in the clouds with a bunch of evangelicals, which doesn't sound like any fun to me. But anyway, it's the same story. People say, I don't go to those churches anymore. And I get that. I can't buy into that proposition either. It doesn't speak to me. I want to be respectful, but it doesn't speak to me. And yet, I've heard a lot of people go to more progressive sort of situations where they don't say, I'm trying to get God to like me by obeying certain rules and everything. Instead, they say, if I can obey certain rules, I can get God to manifest something for me. If I can just get myself to where I can harness the powers of the universe, I know I can manifest a Buick. As though that were the end-all be-all of this whole deal. Well, that sounds like the same thing with just different nouns. And my friends, if we're going to change our lives, we have got to change more than just the nouns. That's what I'm here to talk about today. Ask yourself of your situations, your job, your church, your relationships, the whole deal. Am I just shuffling nouns around? You know there's no geographical cure. That's just one example of that, right? It's like, stick with me here. It's like an extra medium t-shirt. They make small, medium, large, they make extra large, they make extra, extra large, they make extra small, they make extra, extra, extra small, they make microscopic. But they don't make an extra medium. Because you can't get more medium than medium. That's as mediocre as it gets. And I'm glad you're laughing with me because I want to drive this home. This is the thing I want you to take home with you. If your life doesn't fit, make sure you're not trying to wiggle into an extra medium t-shirt. Make sure you're not trying to just keep things the same by changing nouns around, by plunging into more mediocrity. Some people say, you know, I quit that job, but it's a new job, but it's the same fight with my boss. I broke up with so-and-so, I'm in a new relationship, but we have the same fights. Extra medium t-shirt. It's got to be about changing something. Eric Butterworth says, you can't solve a problem in the same level of consciousness that created it. I live in St. Petersburg with my wife, Jenny, and most mornings we go and walk by the water. It's awesome. We see birds, and we see the sunrise, and we see dolphins sometimes, and we see tourists a lot of times. And I've had this amazing Discovery Channel moment when this bird flew out of a tree and down into the water and grabbed a fish and took it right back out of the water. And the reason that that's a learning moment is for the same quote I just gave you. You can't solve a problem at the same level of consciousness that created it. The bird doesn't stay in the water with the fish. The bird changes the context. You can't solve a problem at the same level of consciousness that created it. I don't know how much mythology you remember from high school, but remember Hercules? Kind of a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson type. I could have gone with Lou Ferrigno, but whatever. Walked around beating people up, that was his thing. And he won all the time. Hercules won all the time. You know this, that's why he's still famous. That's why we know about him. But one day Hercules went to fight this one guy he couldn't beat. This guy's name was Antaeus. And the thing that Hercules didn't remember or didn't know was that Antaeus' mama was Gaia, the goddess of the earth. And so every time Hercules would pick him up and throw him down, he'd make contact with his mama and he'd get stronger again. She loved him like a rock. I had to do that. I'm sorry, I had to do it. But he got stronger every time. And Hercules would pick him up, throw him down, he got stronger. Pick him up, throw him down, he got stronger. But something changed all of a sudden. He grasped the family resemblance. I don't know, I guess Antaeus vaguely resembled Europe or something, but he realized that this isn't going to work. And so instead he picked him up. Hercules just held him. And he fell asleep. And Hercules won. And I'm telling you that because it's the same story as the bird. It's the same story as the Eric Butterworth quote. If you want change, you've got to change something, not just move nouns around. It could be that if you're wrestling with the same problem and it just keeps getting stronger, maybe you need to pick it up and hold on to it and take a look at what it's really trying to tell you, instead of trying to throw it down all the time. Maybe there's a lesson there. You got to change something. So this is the thing that I'd like you to try to change. This is the new thing that I want to share with you today. Are you ready? I want you to embrace the pointless. It's true. I'm very serious about this. I want you to embrace the pointless. So many times in our lives we're taught, well, what is the cash value of this? What is the point of this? What is the end result? If I put my time and attention into this, what am I going to get? What's in it for me, right? What's the point? Except that all the best things have no point. What's the point of love? Love just loves. There's no external reward to love. Love just is. In fact, most of the time, love is a pain in the neck. Or use another part of the anatomy. What's the point of art or truth or beauty or inspiration or wisdom? There's no point. And yet those are the best things. Maybe it's time to lean into the pointless, to find something that just is what it is, and hang on for a minute. And I say that even though a lot of times people come to me asking for the point. Maybe I talk too long, I don't know. But people say, I'm reading this Bible book. Perhaps you've heard of it. I just wish it would come to the point. I get that a lot. And I understand. People have been arguing about the Bible for a long time. I get that. But people say, how come the Bible isn't just more straightforward, like stereo instructions? Because, those are clear. Anyway, how come it can't just tell me something? But the truth is, there's lots of places in the Bible that do just tell you stuff. But those are the places that are the most brittle. Those are the places that people really argue about, whether or not you're allowed to grow a beard, whether or not you're allowed to go to Red Lobster. They didn't know about Cheddar Bay biscuits in Leviticus. Or the stuff that Paul wrote, which is like reading someone else's mail. It's very challenging. The parts that are very stereo instruction-like are the parts that are the hardest to deal with in the 21st century. I'm not saying they're wrong, they're not, but they're hardest to deal with. So maybe asking for the point isn't the right thing. But when I say that, people go, yeah, but what about the golden rule? Isn't that just really clear? Don't we love that? Isn't it something that exists in every religion? I've seen that Facebook post too. It's one of those things. And I say, no. I like the golden rule, big fan. But the beauty of the golden rule is not that it's clear. It's not clear. It sounds clear, not clear. What's the golden rule? Remember, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's beautiful. It ain't simple. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. What if I'm hungry and he's not? Eat this sandwich because I want it. Put on this sweater, I'm cold. I'm not your mom. What does that mean if I want to talk about the weather and she's taken a vow of silence? Do I force the situation? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you is beautiful and true, but not because it's clear. It's beautiful and true because it causes me to interact with that other. It causes me to find out, well, what is your situation? What is your thing, your calling, your relationship with Spirit? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Causes me to get past the nouns. They say that when you're doing your forgiveness work, if you're trying to decide if that other person has really changed, or if you're trying to decide, have I learned this lesson? Have I really changed from this? The thing to look for is patterns, not words. Have you heard that before? Patterns, not words. Because anybody can say anything, right? Are you acting different? Have you been impacted by this thing? Are you doing it different? Ask yourself of these things. Have I learned the lesson? Well, are you doing something different, or are you just talking about doing something different? Patterns, not words. That might sound complicated, so let me boil it down a little bit more. You ready? Here's the secret to life. You didn't know you're getting that today. Verbs, not nouns. Verbs, not nouns. If you're trying to figure out what you ought to be doing next, you're trying to figure out what's important, it's the verbs. Nouns are not important. The people who love you, are you sharing your verbs with them, or are you sharing your nouns? You know exactly what I mean. And I know that this is a big deal because when people come to me for marriage counseling, that's almost always the problem. Someone will say, well, I pay the rent. Those are nouns. I bought you flowers. Great. Those are nouns. Love doesn't happen because flowers. Love doesn't happen because rent. At best, those things are a byproduct of a verb. The people who love you, do they get your verbs or do they get your nouns? You decide, but it's going to change everything. And in fact, that's how this whole thing works. I remember being at Unity of Palm Harbor when it was meeting in a community center. My dad was the minister. I remember when we moved to a convention center. I remember when Unity of Palm Harbor was in a storefront. And look at this. Look what you guys did. This is amazing. I'm so proud and honored to be here. This is holy ground. And the reason when you walk in that door and you go, home, safe place, something special happens here. The reason why this is holy ground is not because somebody went to Holy Home Depot and bought consecrated drywall. It doesn't work that way. It's what you do here. It's what you choose here. It's what you think and feel and share and sing and talk and think and pray about here. You make this holy. Church doesn't happen because building. If we're lucky and we do it right, church happens to a building. That's different. Fire doesn't happen because there's wood. Fire happens to wood. It's an event. I want you to think about yourself that way. There's a lot of complicated things that have to happen for fire to take place. There's a lot of complicated things that have had to happen for you to be where you are, and some of them weren't any fun. And I'm sorry about that, but you know what? I'm also kind of not sorry because here you are. This is a moment of power. You don't have to go back to wherever it was that hurt. You are not a thing. You're not a noun. You are an event. Like fire, like church, like a dance. You are less like a rock and more like a rock concert. What I'm trying to say is I want you to stop waiting for life to happen to you, and I want you to start happening to your life. That's a big, thank you. That's a big deal. But that means you got to change what you pray for. Because a lot of times when people pray, they pray for nouns. Can I please win the lottery? I get it. I get it. But you know that part where Jesus says don't pray for things because God's kind of got things under control? I'm paraphrasing, but that was the basic idea. Jesus is basically saying things are kind of boring. And look, I'll tell you what. If you tell me what you would buy when you win the lottery, that's not any more interesting to me than what you would buy after church when you go to Publix. Milk, eggs, fabric softener, Ferrari. Great, don't care. It's boring. I'm sorry, it's boring. Things are boring. Stop praying for God to change your nouns and start praying for God to change your verbs. That will change everything in your relationship with Spirit, I promise. Solomon, the richest guy in the Bible, had that moment with God where God basically says, you can have whatever you want. Solomon didn't pray for what's behind door number 1 or whatever. He said, grant in me an understanding heart. In other words, God, I know you're here. I just want to get it. And as a result, he got all the other stuff too. Grant in me an understanding heart. In other words, perhaps the most beautiful, powerful prayer in the world is this: Father, let me know it when I see it. I'm not trying to attract God. God's here. I'm not going to imply distance. I'm not trying to manifest God. God's here. What am I doing? God, may I know it when I see it. Let me have an understanding heart. Because what's in your heart is going to be what's in your life. People come to me about affirmations and they say, I've memorized all of the words. I know all the secret passwords to God's clubhouse or whatever. I sleep with a copy of The Secret under my bed, but that's a secret. And all of that. I've memorized it all, and yet my life isn't different. What's wrong with me? People say literally those kind of words. What's wrong with me? I've memorized the affirmations, but my life isn't different. Here is the thing I want you to know. The universe does not speak English. The universe does not speak English. The universe speaks intention. So where's your heart? If you say, I am a powerful, beautiful child of God, there ain't nothing like me, and I've got all the money in the world, and if that doesn't feel true in your heart, the intention you put out is, this doesn't feel right. Well, you can't lie to yourself, and you know you can't lie to God, so who wins? You got to start where you start. So the question for you is, what feels true right now? Maybe you can say, everybody is just crazy about me. If it don't feel true, it's not going to feel true. But what if you say, you know what, God? I know that there's love in my heart because I feel it when it ain't there. I've got room. That's okay. Maybe you can't pray for $1 billion, but there's this whole daily bread thing. Perhaps you've heard of it. Start where you start. Ask yourself, what feels true? Because maybe you don't have what it takes to get to the end of whatever, but you know what? Nothing ever ends. You have what you need to start. So start. Ask yourself of your job, your situation, your church, your romance or lack thereof, whatever it is, ask yourself, does this feel true or does this feel like a lie? And then you'll know what you need to do next. Maybe that sounds complicated, so let me say it differently. If you're trying to decide what you should be spending your time on, what is worthwhile in your life, what is best, when I give this, do I get more or do I get less? That's the test. Very simple. I'll give you an example. If I have $1 and you have $1 and I give you $1, you have $2, I have $0. That means dollars are not the important thing to think about. But if I have an idea and you have an idea and we share ideas, we each now have 2 ideas. There it is. If I give it, do I get more? That's how you know what's important. What to complain about, what to think about, what to pray about, what to fixate on. That's how you know. All of the things that are noblest in the human spirit, love, when you give it, you get more. It's like a magic penny. Art, truth, inspiration, beauty, friendship. Those are the things that we're here to do. So ask yourself, what things am I spending my time on? And the secret is that you are already good at this. Remember how good you were at making friends when you were a little kid? Adults are not often good at it. We've got all kinds of weird rules. I can't be friends with you unless you vote the way I do or think the way I do or have about the same amount of money as I do or whatever it is. I get it. A lot of adults have sort of misplaced the way this works. I get it. But when you're a little kid on the playground, you got red shoes, I got red shoes, best friends. You like Spider-Man? Crazy about Spider-Man, best friends. You are already good at this. You can get it back. And it will change everything. When I was a little kid, I was walking with 2 of my friends, Joey and Joshua. Me and Josh were the same age. Joey was a year older. He was walking a little bit ahead of us, and we thought he was pretty special. Joey was older, like I said, and his parents let him watch Dukes of Hazzard, so, worldly. And we had just discovered the step on a crack, break your mother's back thing. You know that one, don't step, yeah, you get it. I don't have to explain it. Well, to a normal kid, it's just kind of fun. Ooh, don't step on the crack. Well, I was a little bit neurotic, and it freaked me out. I didn't like it. But I was doing okay, not stepping on the cracks, doing the thing, And then Joey, the older kid, said, If you look at this ground through a microscope, if you look at this through a microscope, you'll see millions, billions of cracks. There's cracks everywhere. You can't help but step on a crack. And oh, wasn't that funny? And I freaked out. Because I don't want to step on a crack. I mean, Freudian implications notwithstanding, I don't want to hurt my mom. But I don't want to hurt anybody. But more than that, if it's all cracks all the way down, what's preventing me from falling through to the center of the earth where there's dinosaurs and James Mason? What's going to keep this from happening? What's going to keep my school from falling down, or my church, or my whatever, my world from caving in? I freaked out. And then Joshua, the kid that was my age, he said, you know, I bet if we look at this through a microscope, we'll also see all the places where this is all stuck together like a spider web. And I'm just going to walk on those places. And I share that story with you to remind you that that is your choice today. You can step on the things that separate us. You can chase the numbers all day long. You can try to earn your right to just be. Or you can step on the things that connect us. You can give love and inspiration and just a good look and a handshake, you know. You can stop trying to earn your right to be. Because the love of God is unearned, just like thermodynamics or gravity or sunshine. It just is. It's time for you to just be too. Because you are already beautiful. You are already strong. You are already healing. And you are already free. Because after all, freedom is a choice. Thank you.
Prepare to give offerings and tithes to our ministry, to our vision, and to our mission. We're going to ask the ambassadors to come forward. And we want you to know that your gifts and your tithes and your offerings are very, very important to our church, to the mission that we carry out, to the vision that we live for. And so we are very, very thankful for that. You know, Dita mentioned that the Bible, there's some verses in there. One of the ones is, as you give, so shall you receive, right? But there are some of us in here who studied the Course in Miracle. A Course in Miracle teaches the same thing, but it goes one step further. And it says, as you give, you shall receive, and what you receive, you keep it eternally. It's stored up for you, and you always have it. Same thing with love. You give love, you receive it, it doubles, multiplies. And so we're thankful for your gifts and your offerings and your tithes. And now we'll have some music and
Really enjoyed your talk, man. I hate to outdo you, but I got something a little better here.
No. Oh, yeah, it was wonderful, wonderful message. Thank you so much. All right.
This is called a happy drum, H-I-P-I.
H-A-P-I.
H-A.
But close.
It's just got the little modal things on it. You can't really see what's happening, but that's where the sound's coming from. I see happy people, I see happy faces, I see smiling eyes shining back at me. I see happy people, I see happy faces, I see smiling eyes shining back at me. Now when I come into this place, I rise into a higher space. I see the looks upon your face and it makes me wanna sing. I see happy people, I see happy faces, I see smiling eyes shining back at me. I see happy people, I see happy faces, I see smiling eyes shining back at me. Boom, boom, bang, bang, diggy, diggy, dang, bang, boom, boom.
bang bang, diggy diggy dang dang, boom boom bang bang, diggy diggy dang dang, boom boom bang bang, diggy diggy dang dang. No, we're not delirious, so don't take us so serious. We're having some fun with a song, and if you want, just sing along. Sing boom boom bang bang, diggy diggy bang bang, boom boom bang bang, diggy diggy bang bang, boom boom bang bang, diggy diggy dang dang, boom boom bang bang. I see happy people, I see happy faces, I see smiling eyes shining back at me. I see happy people, I see happy faces, I see smiling eyes shining back at me. Help us out. Boom boom bang bang, diggy diggy dang dang, 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 boom.
I don't know how he wrote that song, but he wrote it.
We are here to stand in truth as the power of God. We are the power of God. We are here to radiate as the presence of God. We are the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and so it is. All right, thank you so much. Now for the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Have a great week. Bless you all. Happy Valentine's and enjoy your life.